If standard math calculations intimidate you, then I suggest you simply look away, because our top story is a mathematical and political nightmare. I'm talking about Karnataka's reservation chaos. Now, you may remember what happened last month with the Panchamshali Lingayats. They had 5% quota in government jobs and colleges, but they wanted 15%. After massive protests in Belgavi, the government agreed to their demand. They created a new quota category for the community called 2D. Now, here's the thing about 2D. It does not have a specified quota number. It is derived from the existing EWS quota reserved for the general category. So guess what's happening now? The Lingayats are unhappy because they have not been given 15% quota, and the Brahmins are unhappy because their quota is being eaten up too. It's a lose-lose situation for the Basavaraj Bommai government. Lingayat Seers have now given him 24 hours to give the community 15% reservation. Listen in.
29ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ನಡೆದಂಥ ಸಚಿವ ಸಂಪುಟ ನಿರ್ಣಯ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ನಿರ್ಣಯವನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕಾರಿಣಿ ಸಭೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ತಿರಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದರ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದರೊಂದಿಗೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಹೋರಾಟದ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ನಿರ್ಧಾರವಾಗಿ 24 ಗಂಟೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿಯೇ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಪಂಚಮಸಾಲಿ ಸಮುದಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ತಾವು 2A ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಗೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಂತಹ ತತ್ಸಮಾನವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಯನ್ನು 24 ಗಂಟೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿಯೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟಗೊಳಿಸಬೇಕು. ಇದರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ಜನವರಿ 12ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಒಳಗಾಗಿಯೇ ಗೆಜೆಟನ್ನು ಪಂಚಮಸಾಲಿ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಮೀಸಲಾತಿ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗೆಜೆಟ್ ಅಧಿಸೂಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಜನವರಿ 12ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಗುರುವಾರ ಅಷ್ಟೊಳಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅಧಿಸೂಚನೆ ಹೊರಡಿಸ್ದೇ ಹೋದರೆ ಜನವರಿ 13ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ ದಿವಸ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳ ಗೃಹ ಏನು ಶಿಗ್ಗಾವಿ ವಿಧಾನಸಭಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಶಿಗ್ಗಾವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದಿನದ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸತ್ಯಾಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಭೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
ನಾವು ಮೀಸಲಾತಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೂ ಧಮಕಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಧಮಕಿ ಏನಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಸೌಧನೆ ಮುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರೂ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಉಚ್ಚಿ ವೈಲಾಗೂ ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದರು. ಆಟ ಮಂದಿತ್ತು, ಗಾಬರಾಗಿತ್ತು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಇದನ್ನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಡೆಕಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಅಲೋಕ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಪಾಲೋದು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಮದು ಅಂದರೆ ತಾಯಿ ಆಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇದೆ. ನಾವೇನಾರ ಬಂದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧನೇ ನಡೀತಿದೆ.
Now, this is a massive challenge for the BJP ahead of the assembly elections. Remember, we are talking about a very powerful voting group here. The Lingayats make up 17% of the state's population. They have given Karnataka 8 chief ministers since independence. If you look at the current assembly, 61% lawmakers, 61 lawmakers are from the Lingayat community, which is around 27%. Now, within the Lingayats, there are multiple subsets. One of the biggest being the Panchamshali Lingayats. They make up 80% of the entire community. If they desert the BJP, the party could end up losing the upcoming elections, which is why Chief Minister Bommai tried to accommodate them in the EWS quota. But if that doesn't work, he will only have one option left: increase the overall reservation limit. Now, there was a time when the 50% ceiling was considered sacrosanct. It was set by the Supreme Court itself, but not anymore. At least 8 states have already crossed the 50% mark. Chhattisgarh, for example, is at 82%. Madhya Pradesh is at 72%, and Rajasthan is at 64%. The Supreme Court itself opened the floodgates with its judgment in November 2022. The court said that the 50% limit is flexible and breaching it does not violate the basic structure of the Constitution. This happened during the EWS judgment. So naturally, governments are lining up to do just that. Nowadays, you have politically powerful communities holding governments hostage for quotas. Just think about the Marathas in Maharashtra, the Patels in Gujarat, or the Jats in Haryana. If everyone gets a quota, what's the point of reservations? That is a question that we are asking this evening. Are the likes of the Lingayats and the Vocaligas diluting the idea of reservation by demanding quotas? And is the BJP giving into a very dangerous trend by agreeing to these demands? Let me go across to our guests who are joining us this evening. Anand Gurumurthy is spokesperson of the BJP. Lavanya Ballal is spokesperson of the Congress party. And Madhavan Narayan is a senior journalist. Thank you all three for joining us this evening. Anand Gurumurthy, what will you do? This is a big migraine for the BJP ahead of a very crucial election. 24 hours is the deadline that you have been given.
Number one point is that what you made as a statement, okay, saying that they are going to desert BJP and all these things. These are your statements, not the Swamiji's statements or anybody's statement. See, they are EWS quota is something which has to be understood very well. It is for the economically weaker section. Please, expand the abbreviation and speak about it. So it is, necessary. In every caste, there are poor people. And to help them out, it is very necessary that political parties have a consensus. So why do we have any kind of reservation? To help people come out of poverty. Now, when BJP is doing this, all the political parties which were not trying to do this and were trying to create vote banks must understand and come along with us and help us. Number one. Number two is, like, we have been given a deadline and all these things, all these kinds of narrative. See, BJP government, our CM Basavaraj Bommai is the first person who at least started working on this and has ensured that there is a 2D category, and he has ensured that EWS category applies to both Panchamshali Lingayats and the Vokkaligas. So it's a win in that direction. Okay, to help the poor people. Even the Swamiji is not telling, give us a category, give us a blanket so that everybody who is good enough in the community also gets something. No, he's very clear about it. He wants to ensure that the poor in the community are helped. And that is what is the vision of our government also. Whichever state you take, wherever you see, there are people in caste which are called as the,
Mr. Gurumurthy,
larger majority caste. There are many poor people and they
Mr.
have to...
Gurumurthy,
yes, please.
Mr. Gurumurthy, you can do the math and expand the EWS meaning and rubric. But the fact is that you have to convince not me. You have to convince the community that is protesting.
I'm not convincing
they have rejected your demand. It is as simple as that.
Correct. No. I am clearly.
They have rejected your demand. And fact is, from 5% they want to go to 15%. Is the BJP government in a position to do it or not? The answer is either a simple yes or a simple no.
I am not convincing you. I am correcting you with the narrative because you are trying to tell that they are threatening to leave back our party, and all this is a narrative that you are trying to push through media, which is wrong. They are asking for the right of a poor person of the community, which the BJP government understands, and it's going in that direction. Why are you giving a different narrative to the people is what I'm trying to correct here.
Okay, fair point. You are saying that the media is spinning a narrative. You essentially are saying that the media is spinning a narrative that the Lingayats will desert you if they don't get the required reservation, 15% in this case.
No, wait a second. When there is an agitation and the agitators who are backing us or not backing us in a democratic form of governance, they will have certain things to say. They will have deadlines and the government will be walking along with them. Many of our leaders are involved and they're walking along with them to ensure that there is a kind of a resolution for all this, and the poor are the ones who have to be benefited. Whether it is the Swamiji or the CM or all people involved within the BJP government are walking towards this goal. While the narrative being set is that, okay, this is the election year, they are going to leave you. Why all this narrative? Let us understand the fact that we are trying to help the poor. The Swamiji also wants to do the same. The CM also wants to do the same. That is why 2D was created. Madam, let me set the narrative here. That is why 2D was created. Now, where are the other
they have rejected it now. Sir, they have rejected it now.
Why didn't they do this all these years?
But they have rejected the 2D, and what are you talking about? Other political parties, sir? You are the one in power, na? Anyhow, let's get in. You asked me where the other political parties are. Let me get in.
No, 1 minute. Why nobody ensured that the poor in all the castes and communities are helped? Why nobody ensured that? It was only, taught about only certain things. Reservation was only taught about in certain things. Why was the EWS not introduced in such a way that everybody who is poor has a chance? So when BJP is trying to do this, why it should be talked in vote bank politics way? Why the narrative should be set like that is what I'm trying to ask.
No, it is. Lavanya Ballal, because it's happening in an election year. That is why the narrative will be set like that.
The
There's a
elections will
reason
be
why
there,
we are
Shreya,
seeing
and they
these
will go on
Lingayat
throughout this
protests for
thing. But
reservations
are we helping the poor? And that is what BJP is
escalate.
interested in, and that is what BJP is going towards. That's all.
You know, as far as the poor is concerned, Lavanya Ballal, you want to come in, I know that, because what the BJP spokesperson is saying is that the BJP is the only one trying to help the poor, and where were the other opposition parties? First, I want to know, what is your stand on the demand that is being made by a subsect of the Lingayats? What is the Congress party's official stand on that?
Right now, we are of a point of view that if it is backed by facts, then I think a demand by any community is perfectly valid. While we cannot make, this is something that we have reiterated multiple times on multiple issues, uh, decisions should not be emotion backed. Decisions should be backed by facts. And if it is a community that is a necessity of financial aid in terms of their education and jobs, I think it is a perfectly valid demand. Uh, Having said that, BJP also has, in the last few years, if you notice their narrative, they have constantly questioned the reservation that is available for the OBC and the SC/ST. You just look at one day, you just post one tweet on Twitter and say reservation for SC/ST is valid, and you look at the amount of BJP trolls who will come out there and say, why should Dalits have reservations? Dalits do not need reservations. Reservations are supposed to be a social welfare program. It is also a kind of a reparations for the kind of abuse certain communities would have faced for millions of years. But then BJP also contradicts itself and goes out and tries to appease certain communities. So close to elections, I think the BJP desperately wants the Lingayat community on their side. As you said, they are one of the biggest vote banks of Karnataka. Just having Mr. Bommai as a CM face has not helped the BJP in any way after they shunted Mr. Yediyurappa out of the office. So this is a desperate measure by the BJP
Okay.
to appease the Lingayats, and I think they're failing here.
Madhavan Narayan, would you want to come in here? The Congress spokesperson is not saying this or that. She's saying this decision cannot be based on emotion. It has to be backed by data. Are they actually economically marginalized? If they are, then possibly, yes, you need to increase the quota that is given to this subsect. I'm looking at the statistics here. 42% of all chief ministers in Karnataka have been Lingayats. Currently, of all sitting MLAs, 27% are Lingayats. Is the Lingayat community, in your opinion, in your view, socially and economically backward? I would say it's a very politically powerful community if it has the might to shape and reshape governments in Karnataka.
I think it is an open secret for decades now, Shreya, that Lingayats and Vokkaligas are the two main political parties of Karnataka, whatever party they belong to. Social justice is the official narrative, but what is happening is political quotaism. And in fact, it's very interesting. I want to draw in the fact that Chief Justice of India, Dhananjay Chandrachud, mentioned yesterday in the context of UP elections about some communities not being represented in local body polls as political justice. So what we have today is a narrative in which social justice is cited as an excuse to actually foster quotaism in a political justice way, which itself is peculiar because Lingayats and Vokkaligas are now classified as moderately backward. And then Mr. Anand Gurmurti's statement reads like Amitabh Bachchan's famous dialogues from Namak Halal featuring Vijay Hazare and Vijay Merchant, in which there is a deliberate attempt to conflate and confuse issue. If you are economically backward, there is no need to call yourself Panchamshali Lingayat at all. You can just be judged or assessed by your economic backwardness, whatever community you belong to. So what is happening in Karnataka is a Rubik's Cube exercise in which, in fact, I want to read out for you from a news report, which is so confusing. I want to read it out precisely because it's confusing. The Vokkaligas come under category 3A, which will now be placed under new category 2C. Vaishnava Lingayats under 3B will now be under 2D. Existing 3A and 3B will be done away with. And then 4% for Vokkaligas under 2C and 5% for Lingayats under 2D. What is this all about? Are we talking about high school chemistry or algebra. So therefore, what is happening is very clearly Mr. Bommai is himself from the Lingayat community, and the Lingayats are electorally and let me say in voice and noise and vote they are powerful, and therefore the Brahmins are understandably angry. But the BJP has its traditional vote base among the Brahmins, and that is why it's trying to do a rope walk. And the only way you can do so is by creating some sort of a confusion, which is what seems to be happening. Now, I don't think Congress will actually like to challenge the BJP on this, because given the Vocaligas and Lingayats in Karnataka, no party wants to stick its neck out and say, look, you guys have had it. So what we probably need is a real survey and a census to determine the numerical quota and a survey to determine the true nature of backwardness. That is not happening. What we have is election eve bargaining. It is just like minimum prices for crops among farmers, minimum quotas for things, and you have to take a calculated risk. It's like guessing what the Nifty or the Sensex will be 6 months from now. The parties will create. I won't be surprised if some kind of a committee is set up or to something. That is the usual tactic under the bureaucratic way of doing things.
We love committees because we never know. Yeah, we never know what those committees do and what their deadlines are and what they come up with. I love committees in this country. Anand Gurumurthy.
Yeah.
So Anand Gurumurthy, absolutely. Madhavan Narayan is saying this is, if you can't convince them, confuse them. So BJP is doing nothing but confuse us with 2D, 3D, 3A, 4B. Fact is, whatever patti you had put out, the Lingayat community, the two seers have rejected your offer. That is, that's the baseline of the story today. Now you may say it is not them threatening us, it is just a negotiation that is going on, etc., etc. But you have managed to upset not just the Lingayats but the Brahmins also in Karnataka.
See, we have to be very clear on this. Okay, there's no confusion here. Okay, see, everybody knows reservation is quite a sensitive subject in our country. Okay, it has been there since independence, and we know that even prior to independence also, during the British rule, there was some kind of tactics there. Okay, but ultimately, what is the point that we have to solve using reservation? Ensuring
how are the Lingayats socially and economically marginalized?
Shreya, you want the answer, I'm giving you the answer. Okay, you are asking a 5 marks question
socially,
and telling yes or no answer. Okay,
socially and economically.
Let me talk. Okay. You are asking a 5 marks question, you are asking yes or no answer. How can I give that? Okay, it's a 5 marks question. I have to tell it as Mother Sir. I need to explain a little bit. Okay. So this is a subject, this is like a beehive, okay? And it is something where people will ask many questions, whether it is this caste, that caste, or any caste, or anybody, okay, will ask questions. And even us who are, not using the reservation, or anybody will ask these questions. The reason is because it is a sensitive subject. And BJP government, wherever it is, whether it is the center or the state, we are attending to the subject and trying to make the correction to ensure, okay, that the poor who are there are, helped. So that is what is our baseline statement. That's all. Whichever caste, community, religion, the poor should be helped. Because we are seeing this happening in the last, many years, that this is something which has to happen, which is, the poor should be helped, and that is what we are focusing at. So whatever Madhav Sir says, that is his statement. But for BJP, it's not about to confuse, but to ensure that poor, in whichever community they are helped through this, whatever legislations or whatever changes that are.
I asked you a question about how the Lingayats are poor and socially marginalized, Mr. Gurumurthy, given that almost half the chief ministers in the state of Karnataka have been from the Lingayat community. 27%. 27% of sitting MLAs currently are from the Lingayat. Very quickly, because I have to give 10 seconds to Mr. Narayan as well. Go ahead. 10 seconds.
One statement. See, I just have to tell one thing. See, in Lingayat community, okay, in North Karnataka, Lavanya, 1 second.
Who they have demonized often, saying the Muslims and other minorities of India have been snatching away the opportunities of others from the Hindu community. When he says poor people, does he also include minorities of India?
Lavanya Ballal, everybody comes under that, okay? Every Indian comes under that.
I know.
We don't see Muslim.
I know the
Hindu like
answer,
this,
Mr.
okay?
Gurumurthy is
your
going to
statement.
say.
You just leave
He'll
that
say
part
the
to yourself,
EWS
okay?
community is for
I have
everyone,
clearly told
including
any
poor
caste,
Muslims.
religion, Lavanya Ballal, I hope you heard it, okay? And every BJP person who
Arre,
comes
but-
on TV is telling the same thing,
but
you don't
then
want to
you
hear
give
that.
this logic
Now, I
to
just
the
want to make
Lingayats,
one statement
na?
regarding the Lingayats.
Mr.
Okay,
Gurumurthy,
see,
give this logic to the
Shreya,
Lingayats
one
then.
second. I just want to make one
Coming
statement
from-
regarding the Lingayats. See, in North
Give this
Karnataka,
logic to the Lingayats that there is already EWS.
okay, Lavanya, take a point
Already
taken, 1
EWS for
minute.
economically weaker people.
Okay, Lavanya, point taken. Just give me
Now
a
the
minute.
Lingayats can
See,
take reservation under that. Huh.
And he's been going on and on, setting an agenda for the party. This is not
No.
about setting an
Mr.
agenda.
Gurumurthy.
Oh, Lavanya, I know how much you answer.
You've been caught out. Mr. Gurumurthy, you've been caught out today. You are trying to confuse us.
Okay, there is one more thing that we have to understand. Okay, all this Lingayat community you are talking about, okay, everybody is rich and all this. There are every year fairs happen in the North Karnataka, okay, where poorest of the poor Lingayats come and attend the fair. These jatras should be seen, okay, to witness the poverty in that community also.
Okay.
And the Vokalika community have to come in the south, in Mandya, Madhu and all, where jatras happen in the
monologue by Mr. Gurumurthy. I'm sorry, Mr. Gurumurthy can't go on a monologue like
It's
this.
very interesting.
Lavanya, I'm telling about the
हो गया,
jatras
हो गया.
which happen in
Time.
Karnataka.
एक मिनट हो
wherein
गया.
all the poor, many
Ladies and gentlemen, let's dial this down. Look, reservations in any case is a complicated subject. Mr. Gurumurthy and Lavanya, look, reservations is already a complicated subject, so let's not speak over each other and confuse the viewer even further. I am confused, forget the viewer, I am confused as well. Lavanya, just make the point you were making and then I'll give the closing comment to Mr. Narayan. नहीं, आपने हो गया. You have said that come and see the jatras. We've said, you've said it.
The BJP has been often, through its supporters, been very vocal about how opportunities are being snatched away by minorities. And also the SC/ST, they have a huge issue with the reservations that has been given to the OBC and SC/ST communities. So all my question is, when these people talk about poor people, why is it that they have a problem with the reservations given to the SC/ST and the OBC communities or the minority communities in India? They need to clarify their statement. They cannot keep playing one community against another for their vote bank.
Okay. Mr. Narayan, I'll give you 10 seconds, the closing comment on this discussion.
To answer me this. Talaq was done. Okay, Talaq was removed and it was done by BJP government. What did Lavanya Ballal, what did Congress do for Muslim women? You tell me. Okay, you answer me this. They were in one of the
Mr.
one of the
Gurumurthy.
bad situations. It was corrected, okay, by a legislation. What has got Shabanu case by Rajiv Gandhi? Shabani legislation by Rajiv Gandhi. That's what you want to talk about? That is the great help you have done to Muslim women? Lavanya Ballal, answer that. Answer that.
I'm going to talk over him continuously as long as he keeps doing this monologue. I'm sorry, Shreya.
No, you're not. Please answer that. What about Talaq,
Okay.
Lavanya Ballal?
Achha,
BJP government did
theek
it
hai.
for
Give
Muslim
me-
women. What is your stand on that, Lavanya Ballal? Please tell me as Congress spokesperson.
But I'm going to keep doing this. I'm
You
gonna
know,
love
between the
this.
two of you, you managed to irritate Mr. Narayan.
Straightforward.
Mr. Madhavan Narayan.
Legislation, okay?
I think
What was done by
two
the
points.
BJP government?
You know, it's very interesting. Just a
points.
minute. Acha, ho gaya. It's very interesting. Mr. Gurumurthy, you have not answered the question. Lavanya is not answering your question. Mr. Madhavan Narayan, meanwhile, has been thoroughly irritated by your little fight there. Mr. Narayan, Madhavan Narayan, 10 seconds to end the show. Go ahead.
Let me end it on a humorous note, quoting Amitabh Bachchan precisely from the dialogue I mentioned earlier. His last line in that says, considering the consideration became an ultimatum. That is what we are looking at right now in Karnataka. Now, the BJP has to convince us that the ultimatum is being honored. Otherwise, it is going to be in a position where the consolidation of the Hindutva vote bank it has been banking on is not going to happen. Lingayats and Brahmins and Vokalikas will vote three ways. And that is the thing we should look at going forward. Meanwhile, let's wait for another 24 hours. And Shreya, you and I should be talking again on whether the ultimatum became an extended ultimatum or not.
Okay, so it's a date. All three of us again on Saturday or Monday. See you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Anand Gurumurthy, Lavanya Ballal and Madhavan Narayan. Thank you very much for this very interesting and sometimes humorous chat as well.